Hello there, Anna Stropnik here. And today I want to ask you, do you ever find yourself yelling at your kids? Well, if you are, you're not alone. I'm here. One of the moms that I have to admit, it's very hard to admit, but I do occasionally resort to yelling. And I wanted to share this video with you because I definitely want to stop. I know that this is not something that is positively impacting on our kids. And I just recently wanted to learn a lot more about what causes us to yell, what causes kids to misbehave, to not listen, where our last resource is actually yelling. So if you'd like to learn that, stay tuned. I'm going to be sharing with you some really helpful tips that are hopefully going to help you so you don't yell at your kids anymore. So let's get started. If this is the first time you ever watching any of my videos, my name is Anna Stropnik and I help busy moms start a side hustle to make online profits without interfering with their family life so they can have family time fun. And if you are on my blog, annastropnik.com, you also have noticed maybe that I have a free resource for you, which is 7 ways for moms to make money from home that moms are taking advantage of right now in 2021. So if you haven't grabbed that, I highly suggest grabbing that because that's really helping lots of moms that we can actually have a source of income and save some of our times so we can spend more times with our family so we're not frustrated, overwhelmed, and tired. All right, so let's get started. So I was on this webinar with Amy McCready and she was sharing she actually has a program. So if you actually want to know more about this than what I'm sharing, I'm just sharing my tips from the webinar, but she has programs that are like a year-long program that she teaches like many ways of discipline, but or how to actually, stop certain behaviors in our kids, like and how to stop yourself from yelling. So I'm going to share with you what I actually learned from the webinar, but if you'd like to know more, I would definitely suggest you look for it. I haven't started the program myself, but I will look into it more deeply. But I'll share with you, these are like really cool tips that she shared with us so far. So think about things that, it's really like the behavior, it has 2 ways, it's not just one way, they're misbehaving, but it's actually something that is triggering something that we are doing as well. So think about three reasons why you resort to yelling. So 3 reasons for you, what does your child do and you actually start yelling. So think about it. It could be like maybe when they're playing video games, maybe when they're using bad language, maybe when they're a jealousy at their sibling. It could be something like not sharing. It could be something, but make it like a little bit more deeper, that reason, than just they're not listening. What is the actual reason why you get upset? Like what is behind that? So that's really going to be helpful to you because if it's 50-50 responsibility why we resort to yelling and why the kids don't listen, we can fix 50% of that, which is a great big deal, right? So there's actually root of bad behavior in kids, and there's 2 roots, and that is every kid wants attention and they want power. They want to be shown as having a power. So every time we tell the kids, I told you so and you need to do this, every time we try to order them to do something, they resist, and every human being is going to resist, but somehow as parents we think it's okay for us to be like the parent, to be an adult, to tell our kids what to do. So it's really a psychology on how we can do this better. So they seek attention, and if we don't give them attention in a good way, they're gonna like seek attention in a bad way. And that is, like when we are not spending enough time with them, or maybe we're spending more time with one kid, not the other. It could be so many different things. Or we're just simply overworked, right? Have you ever been overworked and just tired and exhausted, and you just don't have that time for your kid? So they're seeking attention, and they will do anything to get their attention, and they will do anything to have their power. So how do we give it to them? So there's one quote: every human being is born with willpower. So every human being, including our kids, including everyone in the world, has their own willpower. So there's nothing that you can do to make someone do something unless it's their idea, unless they want to. So instead of going into those power struggles every single day, we need to accept that everyone, including our children, is born with a free will. Okay. So sometimes timeouts, 1, 2, 3, they're just not working. And I don't know about you, I have a son that is 7, and timeouts never worked for him because he's a very strong-willed child, and he would get into these power struggles all the time. But what does work is usually like positive reinforcement. So I learned that, and I always talk to his teachers in school that that's what he likes rewards, he likes to be praised. Everyone does. So there's like lots of different things that we can do besides just doing like things that work for most kids, but probably don't, right? So okay, so there's a difference between punishment and discipline. So what is the difference? Sometimes we think we're disciplining when we are punishing our kids, but with punishment comes these 3 things, and that's a blame, shame, and pain. So with punishment comes like this, pain, shame, and guilt. So we put our kids into guilt mode, we cause them pain emotionally, physically, or we shame them in some way because, like when we tell them, I told you so, when we tell them, all these things, especially if we are angry, we will say things that we don't really mean, and we feel really sorry about saying it. So I know when I was listening to this during this webinar, I was almost crying because I know that some of the things we say in the moment, and we don't really want to do that. So that's why I invested an hour of my time last week to actually watch this and implement this. So it's really, really huge, and that's why I wanted to share this with you. So you gotta let go. If you've been that parent until now, you gotta let go. I'm letting go of myself as well. So I've been there, I'm still there, I'm a recovering yeller. Okay, so there's actually a way to do discipline with consequences, but it is not going to be punishment. So for example, it is about like electronics. If you want to like limit electronics from our kids, so there's like 5 R's on what you need to do for any type of behavior when you want to like do discipline with consequences, which means if you do this, if you don't stop this is going to happen. So these are 5 R's that you always have to follow in this order. I have my notes here, so that's why I'm looking down, but I don't want to miss anything. I think this is like really, really powerful. So if you're taking notes, take a note on this. So these are 5 R's that we have to do. So for example, your kid is like maybe getting angry when he loses life in a game. That happens to me all the time with my kid. So I implemented this, and it really, really works. I give him a warning, and then I will actually talk to him what is going to be the consequence. It's going to be 30 minutes without the game, or it's going to be 1 day without the game, or like until the school ends, or whatever in a week, right? So okay, so these are the 4 R's. So you got to be respectful, and you got to be respectful to the kids. So how are you going to accomplish that? You don't do it in the moment when it's actually happening, when you cannot control your emotions. So take a breather, do it a little bit later when you can do it in a calmly voice, and you can go and address the problem. So maybe it can be something that, if you haven't addressed it before, and you just like go in there and you're just like, oh, now you're losing your tablet. But have that conversation, maybe at night or the next day, and say, okay, this next time this happens, this is the consequence that is going to happen. Do you understand? So when you're angry at the game, I'm going to give you a warning to finish up what you're doing, and then we're going to take a tablet away for 30 minutes or for the whole till the rest of the day, until after dinner, whatever that is, whatever, just fill in a blank, right? So that would be the first star. We got to be respectful. Number 2 The second R is to be related to a behavior. So you're not going to take away electronics if it's not related to the behavior. It wasn't about electronics, it was about like them maybe pushing their sister. Okay, so it has to be related to the exact behavior, what they did. So if it's not, that just does not make any sense. So that needs to be second. Number 3, it needs to be reasonable in duration. So it cannot be like, a year, 6 months, because if you give that time that is too long, you're gonna create the opposite effect. You're gonna get into their power. They're not going to understand and they're going to resist. So it has to be reasonable in time, whatever that is for you. Number 4, it has to be revealed in advance. So that's why you actually, when you implement something like this, it has to be implemented in advance so they know exactly what is going to happen when they disobey, when they don't listen. So I think this is really, really awesome. And then number 5, the last R, you ask them to repeat it back to you so they understand, so they repeat it back. And I practiced this. So I listened to this webinar last week and I practiced this with my son. I had a talk with him when we were both calm, and I told him this is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you a warning. I asked him to repeat back, and it works. So this whole week we had this like no tablet, no tablet, but I'm not angry, I'm not yelling, at least not for that. So we are working and implementing it into other things that they're doing, and it's working absolutely great. So if this was helpful, let me know. Feel free to share, smash that share button, feel free to share with anyone that you know. And if you like more resources just like this, go on my blog, annastropnik.com/blog. You will see lots of related blogs that are helpful to moms, including my 7 resources on how you can make money working from home on the side to have more family time fun as well. So thank you so much for watching and have a great day.